Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel. It's another episode of What's in My Bookcase. And this week I'm going to focus on the books that are in my collection that are pretty well, I'd say exclusively, specializing in quotes. Now, we know that these days, if you want to get a quote on virtually any subject, all you have to do is Google it. Back in the day, that was not the case. So I have several hardcover, or I have several actual books of quotations. This one was published in 2004, and it's called Words of Wisdom. So it's got, the typical different categories. And I have a philosophy about words, or a belief system about words, that they are here to educate, inform, amuse, clarify. And of course, we also know that sometimes words are used to confuse, mislead, do the opposite of clarification. So it seems to me that choosing the right word is critical. And because I've done a bit of writing in my day, being able to rely on quotes from a variety of sources has always been a good thing. Now, this one is an oldie. It's a Reader's Digest book from 1981, I guess. First published in, first copyright was 42. Anyway, it was kind of a compilation, I guess, of their column, Laughter is the Best Medicine. So, of course, there are longer and shorter quotes in here. Approaching my 40th birthday reluctantly, I called an older friend for comfort and asked, "Is it true that life begins at 40? Begins to what?" she replied. So I'll just keep moving because there are quite a few. Okay, this one is called Picking on Men, the first honest collection of quotations about men compiled by Judy Allen. I don't know if something like this would be considered politically correct these days, but apparently in 1985 it was A-okay. So let's just randomly see what we have here. Oh dear. Yoko Ono said, men have an unusual talent for making a bore out of everything they touch. Oh dear. Okay, maturity. Leo Roston, whoever he is, said, most men do not mature, they simply grow taller. Oh, Liberace said, the difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. Hey, it even rhymes. The Writer's Quotation Book, a literary companion. This is 1980, 85. Benjamin Disraeli, when I want to read a good book, I write one. I never desire to converse with a man who has written more than he has read. So truly, quite often in junk journaling or in paper crafting, people are choosing to either decorate a page or illustrate a point or bring a theme home by including a sentiment or a quote. This one was one that I received, well, it would have been the 90s, 91. I think it was part of a thing that someone gave me, a colleague gave me, when my father died. When you cease to make a contribution, you begin to die, said Eleanor Roosevelt. Lady Nancy Astor. In passing, Also, I would like to say that the first time Adam had a chance, he laid the blame on women. Maybe women were a bit touchy back in the 70s and 80s. Rose Kennedy said, I've had an exciting life. I married for love and got a little money along with it. Okay, what's this one? Oh, 6-word memoirs. Wasn't that a thing that was going around for a while? Where we were sort of encouraged to, what year? 2008. Okay, legend has it that Ernest Hemingway was once challenged to write a story in 6 words. Papa came back swinging with, for sale, baby shoes, never worn. So I believe that people were encouraged to sort of sum up their lives in 6 words. Would you like fries with that? Almost nothing was under my control. Weird, quiet girl fading from view. More broken bones than broken hearts. This is real, this would make good bedtime reading. Do as say, not as did. We don't get any marks for grammar on that one. Never a bridesmaid, always a bride. I think that this would be very interesting to just randomly pick and try to, it could almost be a writing prompt, like what's the backstory to how people have chosen to define themselves. Thank God the suicide attempt failed. Okay, this one is called Notable Quotes. It's got to be oldie. $2.65 originally. 1984. Quotations and Toasts. So you can see that some of these that were printed on, cheaper paper have aged over the years and sort of discolored. Now, of course, a person can also cut them out and use them as is. Okay, this one, I got this as part of a birthday present, one year. Live Like You Were Dying by Tim McGraw. So it's got the CD, and I think the lyrics, so it's a bit of a story in addition to the lyrics of the song. Here's an expression that we've all heard, I think. Youth is wasted on the young. The wisdom of age and the spirit of youth. This one also has sketch or pen and ink drawings in it, so that's kind of cool. 2003. Insanity is hereditary. You can get it from your children. Homer said a young man is embarrassed to question an older one. Knowledge comes, but wisdom lingers. Classic wisdom for the good life. And of course, some of these I've barely opened. Oh, Nixon said, a man is not finished when he's defeated. He's finished when he quits. That's kind of ironic. How about, 2006. Oh, that's a good one. Kurt Cobain. Trying to be someone else is a waste of the person you are. Let's remember that in our junk journal endeavors. That whole copycat syndrome. I better speed this up. I love Jim Rohn. He is now deceased. He was maybe the godfather, the grandfather of personal development sessions and personal development speaker tours. And I had the opportunity to see him live 2 or 3 times, and I just loved him. Now, considering how much he believed in reading, and he also pointed out that the biggest, most expensive houses in the world always include a library. So his encouragement always was to build a personal library. And even if you don't read, he used to say, even if I don't read every single book in my library, I feel smarter just walking into it. Anyway, he, as far as I know, he only did the one book. And it's basically a compilation of some of his quotes on a variety of subjects. The man was a genius in terms of being able to distill a message and strip it down to its essence. I remember, of course, at that time, cars had cassette players in them. And of course, I bought the cassette program, more than one. And because I was, the kids were still too young to drive themselves anywhere. Anytime I had them captive in the car, the rule was, the driver chooses. So I would be playing Jim Rohn cassettes for them. And I think, they hated it, but they, what choice did they have? Mother's prerogative. And I like to think that by osmosis or something, some of those messages trickled through and permeated. Wise words and quotes, an intriguing collection of popular quotes by famous people and wise sayings from Scripture. Integrity. Character is made by many acts. It may be lost by a single act. A quotable writer. Words of wisdom from Mark Twain, Aristotle, Oscar Wilde, Robert Frost, Erica Young, and more. Oh dear, where's the date on this one? 2000, I guess, maybe? Oh yeah, right there. I think it would be interesting to just if truth was a factor, we couldn't publish half the statements public officials make. That was said in 85. Think it's still true today. It would be interesting to just flip through pick a book at random, flip through it, point to it, and use that either for a meditation practice or a meditation practice, or maybe a journal prompt. Okay, words of wisdom for 500 great lives. Can you see a pattern developing here? Was I on a crusade for personal development or what? 1997. And I think that most of these I obviously bought used because I really don't have any recollection of them. So it looks like this one is structured in that they picked the person, kind of a one-line description of who the person was, when they lived and died, and some of their belief systems. Oh, Napoleon Hill. Talk about, look how many pages he got. He, of course, was the author of Think and Grow Rich. Columbo's Hollywood. This is a really old book. This was when I was still stamping my books with them. 79. So these would be people associated with Hollywood. Liza Minnelli. I look like a female Fred Astaire. Dean Martin. Of course, he's been gone a long time, and always, I don't know whether he was a real drinker or if that was just part of his persona and his stage presence, but any bum who can't get drunk by midnight ain't trying. Toastmasters. How many people have become more confident speakers by attending Toastmasters groups? Okay, over 7,000 unusual quotations for Toastmaster speakers and anyone likely to be called on for brief remarks. Oh, it looks like this has been divided by the person that is being quoted. A. Milne. I thought I saw... Who did I just see? Benjamin Franklin, Dwight Eisenhower, Winston Churchill. He was always a great one. One of his quotes I use over and over again in my column is, when war is declared, the first casualty is the truth. Ain't that the truth? This is a lovely little book. Writers on Writing. Somerset Maugham. There are 3 rules for writing a novel. Unfortunately, no one knows what they are. Another famous quote, and another famous quote that I'll probably sort of bugger up here is, writing is really easy. You just sit down and open a vein. So there are some okay, let's keep going. Norman Vincent Peale, my favorite quotations. Of course, he and his wife, I don't remember what his wife's name was. Lived to be well, he's now passed away, but he and his wife ran or published the Guidepost magazine. And did I buy this in 1990? Anyway, that magazine, I don't know if it's probably not still being published, but I have a story about that. I probably will choose not to tell it, but anyway, always had a soft spot for him. And of course, he was a pastor. Well, a pastor, I guess. I don't know the official. Well, a clergyman of some type. And obviously wrote, dozens of books. Anyway. The Quotable Billionaire. How about that? Advice and reflections from and for the real, former, almost, and wannabe super rich. I don't remember getting this or where or why. Oh, this guy. Don't get mad, get even. You have undertaken to cheat me. I won't sue you, for the law is too slow. I will ruin you. So there. The employer generally gets the employees he deserves. Okay, this one can apply to all of us right now with our journaling endeavors and bookmaking. Don't spend so much time trying to choose the perfect opportunity that you miss the right opportunity. In other words, don't wait for, and I said this partly in my hashtag what's in a name, don't wait for the perfect opportunity to begin. Just get on with it. Mom is always right. Words that celebrate the world's smartest moms. So there you go. 2008. So this would clearly lend itself to, ripping up and using these, the quote you want, because they're kind of, there's interesting typesetting and some color. And it's larger too. It makes a bigger impact than some of the other books I've shown. I don't know who this guy is or person is. If there were no schools to take children away from home part of the time, the insane asylums would be filled with mothers. Okay. And I think those of us who are mothers, have been mothers to young children, we can vouch for that. Okay, men. Quotations about men by women. Clearly about this used. Okay, I maintain that when men are perfect, women will follow their example. Is this another of those? 1993. So yeah, this was kind of back in the day when women were really, well, I mean, the struggle is real and the efforts are ongoing to have equality, but don't want anything too snarky here. Mae West. Give a man a free hand and he'll try to run it all over you. She was a bit of a raunchy, racy gal, wasn't she? Okay, I always have a quotation for everything. It saves original thinking. 2012. So this too is one of those with, really attractive typesetting. Ooh. This guy's talking about Margaret Thatcher. I cannot bring myself to vote for a woman who has been voice trained to speak to me as though my dog had just died. Television, a medium. So called because it's neither rare nor well done. Okay, I have a few more to go. Secrets to Happiness. That's a thick one, guys. Uplifting quotes for everyday life. Also, yeah, the woman. 2008. Boy, a lot of books, a lot of these from 2008, aren't there? Thomas Jefferson. Happiness is not being pained in body or troubled in mind. Failure is an event, never a person. That's a good one to think about. Cicero. To stumble twice against the same stone is a proverbial disgrace. So in other words, we shouldn't keep making the same mistake. A man is so in the way in the house. Again, so much of this is a little bit snarky, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a bit, especially if a comedian has said it. I remember Phyllis Diller saying that to clean the house is like shoveling the sidewalk while it's still snowing. No, I think I think I might have buggered that one up. Anyway, the whole point being that it's kind of pointless to try to stay ahead of some of those things when you're still in the thick of the event. So I think the context there was child rearing. Okay, 14,000 quips and quotes for writers and speakers. This one, dough is the wrong term for money. Dough sticks to your hands. Let's see if we can find a date on this one. I've had this for a long, long time. 1980. Oh dear, look how dense and how tiny the font. No, I guess how else do you get 14,000 of them in one book? Never ask a hypochondriac how he feels unless you want to hear an organ recital. A real hypochondriac is one who wants to be buried next to a doctor. Genius. For every boy with a spark of genius, there are a dozen others with ignition trouble. Genius is nothing more than inflamed enthusiasm. Well, we can harness that, can't we? Okay, I've got about 4 or so more. This is a Reader's Digest book, a treasury of wit and wisdom. 4,000 of the funniest, cleverest, most insightful things ever told. Boy, that's quite the billing, isn't it? Oh, 2006. Judy Garland, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of somebody else. So that, I mean, I'm sure I could have found a version of that in every book I've flipped through. So the point being, geez, I just had a look at I'm kind of doing this in the evening by well, that doesn't help. Well, let's just finish it. Overhead lights, a window. Anyway, so what I was trying to say there is it boils down to authenticity. You know, we just have to be who we are, do what we want to do what we feel inclined to do what we're good at. I'm not sure why I have this one there. Oh, the places you'll go. This is a Dr. Seuss book, and this is one that I actually was at a conference of some kind, and a guy used this as the central piece of his 1990. You know, he centered his whole talk around it. So basically it's talking, and I think a lot of people give these as grad presents, you know, as an inspiration to kids who are, you know, leaving home, embarking on their new lives as post-secondary students, or, you know, going into the job world or living on their own, finally, you know, flying the coop, leaving the nest. 1992. Well, this is shiny paper. But look at some of these nice, almost calligraphy-like headings. And of course, a lot of, you know, some of these are so old and so well known that they're almost trite. Thomas Edison, I never did a day's work in my life. It was all fun. And I think that many of us are actually living that right now in this whole journal making, paper crafting choice that we've made. Okay, two more. The Last Word. This is also a book I've had forever. Book played. 92. So, a treasure of women's quotes. So basically there was an again, a division of topics. A few words, and like a bit of an introduction, and then what various famous women have had to say about a particular thing. So good services, sweet remembrances will grow from them. This woman said, laughter can be more satisfying than honor, more precious than money, more heart cleansing than prayer. Don't get your knickers in a knot. Nothing is salt and it just makes you walk funny. Okay, and the last one. Boy, do you see a pattern developing here? The Beacon Book of Quotations by Women. More than 5,000 memorable, witty, and insightful quotations from women past and present. Obviously bought this one used as well. 92. So, again, categories. Boy, I'm taping this in a different area of my studio, so I'm going to have to restore it. Don't you have to wonder about who collects all these things? Somebody along the way has scoured everybody's speeches and writings to find these things. Confusion. It is while trying to get everything straight in my mind that I get confused. Let's pick a good one to end on. And of course, for the very old quotes, the language is kind of archaic. So this person said in 1869, this is under the category of challenge, Providence has hidden a charm in difficult undertakings, which is appreciated only by those who dare to grapple with them. So in other words, if we take on something difficult, we will find the blessing or the gift in it. Anyway, guys, I will stop there. I apologize if the lighting conditions were less than ideal. I will make it my business to do my next episode a little earlier in the day so I don't have to put you through this again. I think this is a fairly good spot to be doing. It's certainly more stable than my ironing board. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that if you enjoy seeing this book series and the other things that I'm doing, that you'll please give me a thumbs up. That if you haven't already done so, you will subscribe, you'll hit the notification bell, and you will choose to comment And use your first name so that I know who you are if it's not apparent in your title, in your handle. I very much appreciate your support and interest. I feel like I'm getting to very clearly know some of you, especially the people who write often and are so generous in their remarks, and yeah, they I guess they see something they like and aren't afraid to say so. So I very much appreciate that. Anyway, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.